You know, Pat and Elaine, I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the issues that we come across on election day with our election inspectors. You know, the problems that we run into and how difficult it is for us to get them to portray a positive image. You know, to be confident and to portray that professionalism at the election place, you know. Because it's so hard for them to understand that the impression that they leave the voters influences the voters' view of the entire election process. I mean, if they come up to you two and you know exactly what you're doing, you work in a confident manner, the voter gets its ballot, goes to the machine, and they walk out with a good feeling. You know, what do you think?
Well, I think at least they'll be happy to come back and vote again, and I think it is important. But there are a few issues I think that has to be addressed to each election inspector. One being food.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, many times you go into the poll site and we do find food. Food should only be on the food table or in the kitchen, whatever, however you handle it in your own poll site. But gracious, we have to remember that food should never be found or left on the table where we have the poll book, the ballots, and the other items that help in the voting process.
Oh, absolutely. If they get something on the ballot, you know, get a frosting smudge or something, that ballot's not going to work in the machine. And then they're going to get frustrated and they're going to wonder, they're going to blame the machine for not working, and they're going to be just not have a good experience.
And what a poor example, to have food sitting on the table when this is such an important process.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, we also run into situations where people are sitting at the table and talking on cell phones while a voter comes up.
Oh,
That absolutely cannot be accepted.
No.
We have to understand, election inspectors should be able to use sense when they're dealing with cell phones. And hopefully, they will address that. They will make sure that they only use the cell phone at their break time. They should never be having a conversation on their cell phone when they're helping a voter.
Absolutely not. I mean, we do understand that there are circumstances
Of
where
course.
you may have someone ill
Right,
at home and
right.
you may need a phone call. I mean, if that's the case, let your poll site coordinator know what the situation is so that maybe they can relieve you if a situation comes up. You know?
Right.
It's very, very important. We try to do so many things to make sure that the voter, that every registered voter has the opportunity to vote. We want to make sure that whoever walks through gets a ballot, and we want to make sure that that ballot counts.
But you know, Tony, the election inspectors have to be attentive to the voter when the voter walks in.
Oh, absolutely.
And make sure you give that voter your attention. It is so important to create that environment. That's what they came for.
Okay.
This is what we're there for.
I think that's the key word, is the environment.
You know, we run into situations in some of the poll sites where we have people that come in and vote that are less than English proficient. You know, and we've done numerous things. We've printed, excuse me, in the situation with Hispanics, we've printed a lot of our information in both Spanish and English. The voters' Bill of Rights is in Spanish and English. The information of their legal rights, the notice to voters, is in Spanish and English. We have ballots available now in Spanish. And we have a situation, if a voter comes in, we're now training our inspectors that if they come in, they don't understand it because of a language problem, we have simple cards here that explain to them everything that they have to do.
That's good.
You know, just simply say un momento. And you're telling the voter to please wait a minute and then ask for a translator.
Things can arise. Be prepared.
Well, I think, Pat, that's really true. Take the time
Yeah.
to listen to that voter, his name, address, have him spell it. Pay attention to him.
Absolutely. Patience is a very big part of your job.
Right.
I mean, we have voters who come in that, okay, they have problems with the English language, or they have other problems, and they have a difficult time communicating. You know, it's through no fault of their own. And we get frustrated because we can't understand them, we get upset, you know, what's going on here. But we have to realize how frustrating it is for the voter also. And what we don't want to happen is the voter to get so frustrated they turn around and walk out without casting
Right.
their ballot.
We need to rise above it.
Absolutely.
It's
And of course, Tony, you know about all the changes, and many
Oh.
times the voter will come in and the district gets changed and
Right.
they aren't voting there anymore. We've changed the poll sites, so patience is so important.
Well, you brought up a very good point about changes. You know, as election inspectors, we have to be acceptable to that too.
Right.
You know, Pat, how many-
Flexible is the word,
Oh,
right, Tony?
absolutely. How many
Right.
times have you gone out and we've done training and we've trained election inspectors in June, in July, in August, And then come time, election time, we have to make changes because it may be directives brought down from the State Board of Elections.
Right.
Or changes that we found we've had to make. And you have to be flexible. You got to be able to accept
But
it.
you know, the key to this is if we're accepting of those changes, we can pass that enthusiasm on to our inspectors.
Exactly. And
You
that's
know?
the role of your poll site coordinator.
Exactly, exactly. You know, there's something else I want to bring up. This is very easy, but it sounds silly. Dress professionally, look appropriate, and dress sensibly because it's a long day, it's a long haul, so wear clothes, shoes that are going to be comfortable.
Absolutely. Professional and comfortable.
Exactly.
The words of the day.
Okay.
All right? And be willing to share your knowledge with other inspectors and with the voting public. You know, but just make sure you're there to help them.
Right.
You know, it's very important that when the voter is at the privacy booth that we're not there. And what's your favorite word? What do we want to do? We want to help, we want to assist, but we do.
Help but don't hover.
Oh, there you go. I
love
knew I'd
it.
get it out of you. That's exactly right. Exactly right.
It's true.
It's right. We want to make sure that we're there to help the voter, but we don't want to hover to the point where they
Right.
feel uncomfortable at the privacy booth or at the machine.
And these voters, by and large, have a complaint about privacy.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've got to address that and point out that we are observing privacy, we honor privacy, and, you know, it's the way we do business. And it
There are
makes them comfortable.
There are so many important things, and you know the election inspectors. They're our first line of defense. They're the ones who
Right.
meet the public. They're the ones that deal with the public. And again, we want to make sure that the election inspector is comfortable with their job, and we want to make sure that the voter comes in that the voter is just as comfortable.
You know, I thought of something else, Tony and Elaine, is we dress professionally, we look professional, and we're attentive to their needs. But we also have to be very careful of the words we use. We are not to discuss politics.
Oh, absolutely.
Or someone's recent divorce or something like that. We have to be the total package of
Yes.
professionalism.
Everyone has an opinion. Let's face it.
Yes.
But let's keep them to ourselves. At all times, both of you have always acted very professionally.
Thank you.
And you want to give that feeling to our election inspectors. And we hope that they pick that up. I mean, it's so important. Respect the voter, respect the process, and make sure that voter wants to come back. If we do it the way we are trained to do it, if we deal with avoided ballot the way we're supposed to, and we explain to the voter what's going on, they know what's happening, and again, they have the confidence.
That's the word, the confidence in our system.
Right.
And that's very important, that's key.
Right? And as Elaine talks about it all the time with the affidavit ballots, every American has the right to vote. So.
Hello.
Buenas tardes. Quisiera saber si aquí es que yo vengo a votar.
I do not understand.
Quisiera saber si aquí es que yo vengo a votar.
We just need your name and address.
Quisiera...
What we saw was Elaine dealing with a voter who has limited English proficiency. We all have the tendency to raise our voice when talking to someone who doesn't understand us. We think the louder we talk, the easier it is for them to understand what we are saying. The voter will take offense to this. They'll feel threatened. If we come across a situation where we run into a voter who has limited English proficiency, we should follow the procedures given to us. Number one, call the translator, and they'll assist us in any way. Thank you.
votar.
Un momento, por favor. I need a translator.
Could we have our translator, please?
Yes, ladies.
We have a Spanish-speaking voter, and we cannot speak to her. Would you help her?
Sure. Hola.
Hola.
We need her name and
¿Cómo puedo
address.
ayudarte?
Quisiera saber si aquí es que yo vengo a votar.
She would like to know if this is where she votes.
We would need her name and address.
Necesitan su nombre y a dónde vive.
Mi nombre es María Ramos
Maria Ramus,
y vivo en 123 Calle Main.
and she lives at 123 Main Street.
Maria Ramos, 123 Main Street. Just a moment. Maria
Maria Ramus, Calle
123 Main Street,
123 Main Street,
Sí.
calle Main.
and she
Yes.
needs to sign in this square, please, favor.
Necesita afirmar en la cajita.
Mhm.
¿Eso es
Gracias.
todo?
Is that all?
And now she needs a ballot.
Tenemos boletas en español y en inglés. ¿Cómo prefiere?
Prefiero en español.
She would prefer the Spanish.
Okay. I have the Spanish ballot.
Oh,
That ID number on the ballot is 1020.
ballot 1020.
Correct.
Puede coger la boleta y tenemos un sitio allá que puede votar privado.
Muchísimas gracias.
Sensitivity is an issue at all our polling places. We need to recognize the needs of all of our voters, whether it be a handicapped person walking in with physical needs, a person with limited English capabilities, or a person who just needs a chair to sit down while they're waiting in line. We need to be sensitive to all the issues of all our voters. We want our voters to be comfortable. We want our voters to be confident that their vote is being counted. We want our voters to come back. Recognize an issue if one is taking place, be ready to react to it, and help the voter any way we possibly can without interfering with their privacy.